Alright students, welcome to MathMan's Algebra Academy. This episode we're looking at two-step equations, combining like terms, and distributive property. Let's just jump right in. First we're going to start talking about two-step equations. Now an equation obviously has an equal sign. You're going to be isolating the variable. Usually that's a letter like X, that's the most common one. It could be Y or Z, A, B, or C. We're using that letter to hold the place for a number we don't know yet, so we're trying to figure out what that letter is. We're going to do that by adding or subtracting the constant, that's a number by itself. Then, the second step is we're going to multiply or divide by the coefficient, that's the number that's in front of the variable. By doing this, we're going to end up with that variable by itself equal to a number. That's how we solve the equation. Let's give it a try. First we have this equation, 2x plus 2 equals 8. So in this case, x is the variable. The first step, remember, is add or subtract. We're going to add or subtract the constant that's on the same side as the variable. So in this case, that's going to be 2. So we're going to subtract 2 from both sides, which leaves us with 0, right? 2 minus 2 is 0. So that leaves us with 2x on the left side and 6 on the right side, because 8 minus 2 is 6. Now we've reduced it to a one-step equation. So our last step is to multiply or divide. Now we're multiplying or dividing by the coefficient. That's the number in front of the variable. So in this case, again, it's 2. We're going to divide by 2 on the left side and on the right side. And 2 divided by 2 is really just 1. But we wouldn't write 1 in front of the x at this point because we could write really 1 in front of any number as a multiplication symbol. So that just leaves us 1x or x. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So our answer is x equals 3. Let's take another example. 5x minus 4 equals 16. So again, our first step is to add or subtract. So we're adding or subtracting the constant. So the constant is negative 4, so we're going to add 4 this time, because that's going to make it 0, which is what we want. We're trying to isolate the variable on one side. But we have to add it on both sides because it is an equation. When we do that, negative 4 plus 4 equals 0, so we're left with 5x equals 20. Now we're going to divide by the coefficient, which in this case again is 5. So we're going to divide by 5 on the left side, divide by 5 on the right side. Remember, the 5's cancel out because that's 5 divided by 5, which equals 1. And 20 divided by 5 is 4. So we have x equal to 4. Not bad. Now, let's do another one with a negative coefficient, because this does get a little weird for some people. So we're still going to do the same two steps. The first step is going to be to add or subtract. We're adding or subtracting the constant number, which is negative 5. So we're going to add 5. Then we're going to add 5 to the other side as well. So that gets rid of the 5 on the side with the variable, which leaves us with negative 3x equals 9. Then we're going to do our second step, which is multiply or divide. We're going to divide by negative 3 this time. That negative has to get divided. Otherwise, you end up with a negative x, and nobody wants a negative x, right? So we divide by negative 3 on both sides. Negative 3's still cancel out because negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1, and 9 divided by negative 3 is negative 3. So we end up with x equals negative 3. Now, we're going to go into combining like terms. Combining, if you think about like using recipes, combining is where you add things together. If you combine all ingredients into one bowl, for example. So we're going to combine all the terms that look alike together. And you notice this is an expression this time because there's no equal sign. It's an expression, not an equation. So we are combining variable terms. Okay? Let's look at the things that look alike. Which ones have a variable? Well, we have a 5x and we have a 3x. Those things look alike. We can add those together. So we have 5x plus 3x, which gives us 8x. Then we're going to look at the constant terms. Well, we have a negative 4 and a positive 6. Now if you notice, I did include the negative in that circle, and that's because I want you to remember this, because it's going to make it way easier for you to think about. If you don't, then you have to put a negative outside of everything, and it just gets really weird. So negative 4 plus 6 gives us 2. So now we've combined the like terms, we're going to combine them together into one expression. So we have to rewrite the expression. So we're going to have 8x and we have 2. We can't combine those because they are not alike. We have 1 that's a multiplication with 8 times that number x. Then you have 2, which is just a constant. We can't combine those things. They're not the same. So what we will do, though, is rewrite them as 8x plus 2. Now, if that 2 had been negative, it would have been 8x minus 2, but you get the idea. That is how we combine the like terms. Now we're going to talk about distributive property. Distributive property is where you take a number expression like this, 5 times x plus 4. What we're going to do is we're going to distribute that 5 that's out in front by multiplication to everything inside the parentheses. Now I'm showing it with a binomial, but it can be done with any number of terms. So what we're going to do is we're going to distribute by multiplication so that 5 gets multiplied by the x to give us 5x, and then multiplies to the 4 to give us 20. So there's our answer, 5x plus 20.
I hope this video has been helpful for you. If it has, go ahead and hit a like and subscribe to the channel.